Okay, so welcome to another episode of the Pirate Shit Podcast. For those of you who don't know who I am Anthony, and I'm filling in for Clay. And today we are talking about online dating. And before we get into like the pros and cons and kind of the details about just the general nature of online dating, we're going to go around and talk about some personal stories that we've had in our experiences with online dating. So who wants to go first?
Well, I wanted to talk briefly about what happened today before we jump into that.
Okay, go ahead.
There was a crazy moment that I had today. I don't know if you've ever used DoorDash or any of the
Yeah, I use Favor.
the apps that bring you food. It's like it was something that was designed especially for me because whenever I was a kid, I would always say that food comes to me. So this is the fact that they actually came up with a delivery service for any other type of food other than pizza was something that went right up my alley.
It's evolving. The world's evolving.
Yeah.
It is. It's a great thing.
It's catering.
So we had gotten DoorDash, and they delivered, and my girlfriend looks out the window, and she's like, "Somebody's on top of your fucking car." And I was like,
Wait, what? Like standing on it?
I was like, "What?" Like, and I looked at the time. It was like 2 p.m. or something. I was like, "The kids aren't out of school or anything. Like, why would somebody be?" And normally, my past self I would just jump at the opportunity to like go and whoop somebody's ass that's on top of my car. But I was genuinely concerned, so I went outside and fit a rage. Like, "What the fuck's on my car?" And I went out there and I see this chick. She's on top of my car with our food, and I'm like, I was like, "What the fuck?" And she's like,
She got your attention.
"There's a big dog across the street that's out, and it was coming for me." And I was like, "Oh, okay," because we have fucking idiot neighbors that have their fence like it's not a good fence, and
Okay.
so their dogs get out often.
Right. Are they pretty big dogs?
It's kind of is like a lab.
She was afraid of a lab.
There's a lab.
One of the friendliest dogs ever.
Right.
Usually.
So
Yeah.
it was a lab, and I was like, "Okay, cool, get the fuck off my car." And
In the nicest way possible, please.
I'll walk you to the door, and I'll walk you back to your car. Just don't stand on my fucking car. Thank God she wasn't a fucking, a fat bitch.
Sure.
Wait, she was standing on your car?
Yeah.
Why was she standing on your car?
Because she was scared of the dog that was across the street.
Well, at least she didn't give the dog your food.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Just like drop everything. Like that would have been interesting, right? Like
That literally would be the DoorDash.
that's like a super fight or flight thing, right? At that point, just drop everything and jump on somebody's fucking car that you don't know. I was like, why did you jump on your own fucking car? And then I see that she has an SUV or some shit like that. So
She could climb it.
I guess it was more okay. Okay, you can dent my fucking hood, I guess. But she was a skinny girl, so
Okay.
she wasn't a fat girl, and so
Oh, come now.
that worked out.
No need for that.
That worked out better for at least in our situation. Murphy says should have seen it. She sprinted and leaped onto the hood. Yeah,
I know, man. Those Labradors fucking vicious.
yeah, it's crazy.
I don't like using DoorDash.
So
It's way too expensive. You're paying for
Well, how much is the delivery fee?
like 10% or
it's a
something?
good like $5.99. I'm sure.
Is it a flat rate? To me, it seems like a percentage.
I think they have like specials and stuff. Like at times it's like $2.99, or sometimes there's free delivery.
Right. Don't they already include
So-
the tip in the price?
No, they don't. That's the
No.
fucked up thing. It's like they expect a tip afterwards too.
Okay.
Well, no, they do. You just have to tip them. You have to tip them on the app, right? Whenever you make your purchase.
Right.
So you do like the 10.
Otherwise, you get fucked and you
They
get
have
like a
some-
40% tip.
they
And you're
have
like,
some-
thank you, sir.
they
It's
have
like,
some
well, that was my
pretty-
negligence.
They have some pretty generous tips on there too. It's not like you don't start off at 5%.
Oh, yeah, it's
to
more than 20.
15%. It's like 10%, 20%, and 40%. It's like, okay, I guess I'm tipping 40%.
Well, see, that's what I like about Favor, because they do already incorporate the tip, and so when you look at it, it's like $10, $15 extra. You're like, what the fuck? But you can adjust that, and really the delivery fee is like between $3 and $6.
Right.
So it's not terrible. It just depends what you order. So like if you're gonna order McDonald's, I mean, is it really worth that extra
You can,
amount of
you
money?
can favor McDonald's.
You can favor anything. You can favor groceries.
Anything.
You can favor, like, if you need a box of condoms or some lube or whatever,
At all
they'll
times-
get it.
at
Yes.
all times of the night.
As long as someone is there to pick up the order.
What about liquor?
That I don't know about.
have
that.
the-
There is a service, though, that does do that. I don't know
Really?
what the app is, but that is a thing somewhere. I don't know if it's here
They
in
have
Texas.
they have the option for it on DoorDash that says liquor, but there are no liquor stores on it. So it's like it teases you. It's
Right.
like, yeah, when you're really fucking
So if the place
drunk one
offers
day,
alcohol, yeah.
right? If you're really fucking drunk one day, you're like, damn, I want some fucking liquor. You look on the fucking DoorDash, it says liquor, and then it's like, oh fuck,
That's how they get
let
you.
me get that fucking liquor, and then there's no fucking options for any liquor stores, and you're like, well, wow, I just got man. Just got got.
I'm surprised no one's done that before, where they kind of
Mm-hmm.
just stockpile a bunch of liquor, like, just well stuff like Ron Rio rum or McCormick's or whatever. And you get the real desperate ones at the end of the night. And then you surcharge them like 40%.
Hey, man, if you,
How
want it
much-
that bad,
How much is
you'll
getting
pay.
drunk worth?
That's a fucking racket right there, to be honest. So
Maybe we're in the wrong business.
yeah, somebody should be capitalizing on that. Fuck it.
We need like a pirate ship alcohol delivery service.
Andrew Long Johnson, can someone favor me a mail order bride? I'm trying to get it in.
You know, I bet you could probably favor a fleshlight.
Oh, yeah.
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 I mean, if that's your thing.
I guess that's a substitute that you could work with.
I mean, not real people yet, but I'm pretty sure in the near future, if prostitution is ever legal, you can bet your ass there'll be an app for it. There's an app for everything.
So the trick to prostitution is you always film it, because then it's no longer
performance.
prostitution. It is you're making porn.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's something.
That's brilliant.
Thanks, man.
I mean,
It
I know
didn't
you
come- it didn't come from me.
I know you didn't come up with it, but that is brilliant. I know lawyers getting people out of prostitution issues and stuff. Like, can you imagine like going to law school? Like, man, I'm gonna be a professional criminal attorney.
Well, that's
and then
it.
you end up
Caught in a hotel room.
all you're doing is like protecting like fucking people that buy hookers and shit. That's
Hey, man, sex workers have rights too. It's a legitimate job. It's one of the oldest professions
That's right.
that we know of.
Well, yeah, that's the weird part. Is you have to if you don't have any type of skill set, you could always just sell your body, which I think
So
we're kind
horrible.
of doing nowadays. Now that we're kind of that's my little segue.
Well, I think we all kind of sell our bodies in different ways. So, I mean, someone who
Sure.
works 50, 60 hours a week, I mean, that is their body.
Sure.
Whatever the purpose may be, whatever end.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
we're,
wanna-
we're all whores in some way.
I want to talk about that. When we talk about like social media,
Mm-hmm.
when I look on social media profiles, it's always the pictures that make them look the best.
Yeah, the
It's
highlight
the
reel.
lighting, it's the angles, the camera, and everything. It's
Filters
just,
now, that's a huge
oh, yeah,
thing.
Filters are
Everyone's got to
huge.
use a filter.
Yeah, big time. I'm not. I don't like do that.
No, it's
I just
fake.
like taking pictures. Like I like taking pictures of me when I'm at my worst, and then posting that.
When you're like pissing and shitting yourself.
Yeah.
Just like,
Where I'm just like really hungover, and it's just like my hair is just mad. Whatever's left of my hair,
Yeah.
just matted, and just take that picture. Like I send that to
But
my
see,
fiance.
if you always show that side of you, though, that's just as dishonest as showing all the good sides. I mean, you got to keep that balance, right?
No, fuck that.
You just want people to see your
Reality.
worst.
Just it's not the worst. It's just that's me at my most genuine,
Well, sure.
and I don't feel like people do that anymore.
Well, I mean, you have people who are like naturally positive and good natured, right? So I mean,
Sure.
some of those highlight reels are legit, I would think.
You would think.
Yeah, but then, and I think this will be a good segue into the dating thing. When it comes to online dating, yeah, you only see the highlight reels. People only show them.
Right.
You show you their best.
Right.
Because I mean, you're selling yourself, you're advertising yourself, but in a fashion that's more it's quicker. There's no nuance to it. It's just strictly visual, right?
And
So,
it's
I mean,
all designed for what? Attention? To get a girlfriend, get a boyfriend.
Right.
It's not even about boyfriends or relationships nowadays.
Well, it's sex. You're cutting straight to the
Sex.
chase. And so basically it's predicated on the fact that you're just showing your body, right? So
Sure.
what would the outcome be? Oh, well, it's just for sex. I mean, no one really gets the nuances of your personality. No, like you try to text somebody and have a conversation. Well, that's, fine and dandy, but there's a lot just in conversation that you don't get from just straight sterile text.
Sure. Well, I mean, the weird part is when you see the waist up shots for women. I've always been curious. Like even when I was a kid and I saw that, I'm like, that
The male gaze.
she's
Yeah.
lying. She's lying. And I would show my brother Stu like, see that? stay away from that, dude. She's a liar.
Like all of Borders for Whores or Fat Whores.
Wow.
Come on now, let's not be sexist.
I mean, it's. I mean, you know, some people are gonna take offense to this, some people are gonna find it funny. So it's-
don't know how to work Panorama.
I mean, there are those really chubby people that haven't, you know, taken care of their bodies and all that stuff, and they want to present themselves on an online profile in a manner in which they can attract a mate or something like that. So there's this really great thing with photography,
Yeah.
and it takes away, you get certain angles, and then you take away a certain amount of space in the photo
Yeah.
that provides a flattering image for somebody else. So, I mean...
Well, it's not just the pictures. It's
Well, I mean-
also what they talk about themselves to be.
I mean, it's there's also preference, but I mean, how you bring that up. So, like, yeah, you have a lot of people who are according to society, you know, like the ones that look like models and bodybuilders, and when that's all you see, especially in like Tinder, I mean, I feel like that conditions people's perceptions because it's not realistic.
No,
I
not
mean,
in the
if
slightest.
that's the kind of people that you want, then I mean, you got to build yourself up to that level, right?
Well, you would think.
Well,
I mean, Eric says good thing. So catfishing, yeah. I mean, catfishing, in my opinion,
Where did the term catfish come from?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I don't know. Do
because-
catfish lie? Do they like trick
Yeah,
people?
did some guy get really hurt by a catfish and then corresponded that with some bad online
I met someone online.
experience? Like,
Turned out to be a fucking
fucking
catfish.
catfish.
without doing any research whatsoever, I imagine that it's whenever say you've caught something, like whenever you get a big catch, it's not necessarily a catfish that you're catching, right?
Or the fact
Like,
that they're bottom
a lot of
feeders.
people want the bass or the big fish in the pond or whatever it is they're fishing for, and then if you end up with catfish, it's not always they're not the creme de la creme of the fish that
Yeah.
you want to be fishing for. So whatever you get
Yeah,
catfish, you're
yeah.
like, okay, well, I guess I'm stuck with
No,
you.
no, you want the blowfish.
That, well, fish is important. That's important.
Oh, the puns.
Exactly. But
Right?
yeah, I mean,
But-
the blowfish. But yeah, so you get the catfish as the bottom feeder. This portraying themselves as something they're not.
Maybe we coined something because now I'm starting to think of like they're gay. And it's just rainbow fish.
Hey, you know, I mean,
You just wanna
if you're
go-
into rainbow fish, I mean,
Yeah.
who are we to judge?
You just want to go down the list of what type of fish we can make puns about.
Swordfish.
Swordfish. I think.
Are
that-
you a swordfish?
I feel like that would be another gay person. The swordfish.
If she don't look that hammerhead,
Oh God.
I swear that bitch had gills.
I don't even know what that would mean, but
I've only had
But,
I've only had a couple experiences. Mine are. I'm not gonna get into them just yet. But I want to hear. I know Stuart's had a lot of stories.
So we're gonna start with you, Stuart?
Yeah.
Oh, catfish stories. Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. I mean, whenever I was young and dumb, like
Sure.
anything, like I mean, I wasn't always technically savvy, and a lot of things drove me to that point to where I wanted to be technically savvy, so that shit wouldn't happen to me like that. I guess again.
This is like back in
Sure.
the day with like AOL Instant Messenger.
well, this is when it was all kind of new, right?
yeah, I think so.
mean,
Yeah,
this
it
is
was
a,
real fresh.
I was
a
kid
brave
shit.
new world.
Right. So you're on the onlines, right? And you're kids, so you expect everybody to be who they are. You don't expect because you don't put
Yeah, you're young,
you don't
naive.
put on a front for everybody in order to see who you are. So you're like, yeah, it's me or whatever. And then you see like some hot chick or whatever, and you're like, oh my god, she's fucking hot, and she's online. That's fucking sweet. Oh, she's a fucking stayed over for me, whatever. We're gonna be fucking pen pals or some shit.
What did her profile say?
I don't even remember if
But
I
she loves
looked
to
at her
laugh.
profile.
Yeah.
yeah, they love to laugh.
An
and-
open book.
Open book, down
Yeah.
to earth.
Always just looking for real, genuine people.
Right, want a genuine connection with somebody.
but don't
yeah.
we all want a genuine connection with somebody? I mean,
don't
isn't
know.
that the goal?
You'd think, but there's always these different motives. It's just really interesting to see what they. Too bad Clayton isn't there. I bet he's got some interesting stories on this topic. Yeah.
Oh,
Clayton,
we'll get on that another time for sure.
Yeah, Clayton couldn't be here tonight. He's going. He's in a class right now doing his big boy job. So he's here in heart and soul.
Yeah, we're gonna bring out
We
the
love you,
Clay in us all in order for everybody to experience Clay
America.
tonight. So I know if Clay was here, he would say an open book would mean that you should be able to ask a chick if she does anal, and if she doesn't answer appropriately, then she's fucking lying about being an open book.
As opposed to an open anus?
Right, sure. Just open to all things. Should be all orifices are open. All everything is open.
Murphy Horner says the term catfish comes from the idea that fishermen would put cods in big vats, put catfish in with them, and then the catfish would keep the cod agile, like some people who keep you guessing and thinking. Ooh, she just Googled it for us.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome.
Okay. I mean, that kind of went along the
makes
lines
sense.
of what I was saying, but not really at all, even close. But yeah.
Well, now we know.
That's
I learned
interesting.
something today.
No, so she makes it. That's an excellent point. That they're always keeping you intrigued. They're always keeping you engaged. There's always something new. It's never like, I just had a really shitty day. Don't really want to talk. It's always something interesting.
Right, there
like-
are these people with amazing imaginations, right? Because they make up a completely different personality for themselves, and they view themselves in a completely different physical appearance.
Well, if you've ever seen
So-
that MTV show Catfish,
Yeah.
and
Right.
it's
That actually
so
turned out to be fake, though.
weird. Oh, it's fake.
Yeah, it's
The-
100%
The
fake.
entire show is.
Yeah.
I mean, reality shows in general, like
They're all scripted.
I broke my girlfriend's heart one day because she was talking about the reality shows, and I was like,
are you
mean,
telling
People are boring.
Are you telling
We're
me
all
I
boring.
just
Most
got
are
fucking
scripted.
catfished by catfish?
yeah. So they
Yeah, we've been catfished by catfish.
God
That's
damn.
meta as fuck as you put it that way.
got that. They got that inceptional
Yeah.
spectrum in there. That's amazing.
But when you mentioned the mystery thing, I'm gonna back up on that. So what I think online dating, people think it's mysterious, but I think it actually does the opposite. Because when you're
Well,
always
yeah.
connected, you know you're forcing these conversations like you're what are you doing right now, and rather than waiting to see that person and building up that real sense of mystery, you can always just get a hold of them right away, even if they can't get back to you right away. But it's not natural. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, if that makes any sense.
yeah, and I think because you view that person in your mind in a certain way, so you
Yeah.
built this person up. So I think that any form of, even if they looked that certain way, because this is my experience with online dating, is that you build this person up, the way that they portray themselves in this picture and all this stuff, and who they are and their personality. They can be quick-witted
Yeah.
as far as on the keyboard and all that stuff. And then whenever you meet them in person, it's like so fucking awkward. It's like, oh my
Yeah,
God. And then you're like, holy fuck, you didn't have this much hair on your face in this picture.
Oh, I got a
So-
story. I got a story about that. And and catfishing doesn't just happen just via online. That's the one thing I started noticing. Now, when we start talking about that, we have to go back and look at how that technology developed in the first place. But I got a personal story, just a personal catfish that I had, and everyone can judge me. I'm well prepared for this. When I was in Hawaii, I was with a friend, and we were out looking at the beach. It was at nighttime, and all of a sudden there was this. I was very drunk. There was this beautiful
Yeah.
woman
Sure.
in the car.
Okay.
She looked like a woman. She talked like a woman. She had the nice,
If it
features.
walks like a duck,
Sure.
sounds like a duck, it's a duck.
Her tongue felt like a woman. And anyways, so she started
I
performing.
don't know how I feel about where this is
Okay,
going.
she started performing fellatio,
Okay.
and I'm just like, man, this is amazing. And my friend just looked at me like,
Was he there
yeah,
while it happened?
in our white van next to the other car.
Marine Corps.
Yeah, it was
Marine
probably-
Corps, bro.
I'd
Everybody's
say
close.
probably about 25 feet.
Okay.
And he just looked at me. He's like, "We need to go." I'm like, "What are you talking about? I'm getting my dick sucked. This is awesome." He's like, and he when he pulled me out, it was like
Yeah.
that sound. And that's where I felt that's more forceful than a woman's mouth. And he said, that was a dude. So now I have to live with the fact that a dude sucked my dick. And so what I realized
No
is
shame.
that what I'm going to do is I'm going to, if I ever invent a time machine or time travel is possible, I'm going to go back in time to that right before that. And I can already see myself just
Sure.
being like, dude, wow, this is amazing. You came back in time to to give me some advice. And like, yeah, you're about to get your dick sucked by a dude. Don't do it.
Well, I mean, did you enjoy it?
No, I
No,
didn't. It
okay.
was very strange.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, it's best to
So
admit,
there was a
it's
part of
best
you
to-
thinking there's something
Yeah.
not quite
There's something not right about
yeah.
this.
even if he did enjoy, it's best to admit right now that he didn't. Otherwise, he's gay.
Sure.
So, I mean, that's
There's worse things. I mean, hey, man, if you want to come out right now,
No,
No one's gonna judge you.
I'm good, man.
No, I'm
I'm
fucking
pretty.
kidding. No,
I'm
you're good.
pretty straight. But that's the kind of psychological thing. It didn't happen to me very long, But what it
But it
did,
happened.
it made me very aware. Very aware. So later on, I got this. This is back in the days of MySpace. You guys remember MySpace?
I do.
Oh yeah.
When Tom was my friend, he was everyone's friend.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
nice guy.
Love you, Tom.
I always felt jaded because just everybody else was talking about they were Tom's friend. I thought that I was special, and apparently I was not. That's
Well-
been the story of my life, apparently.
So I had a MySpace profile,
Yeah.
and I got a friend request from this very good-looking chick. And from my previous experience, I realized that that's probably not a chick.
It's probably a dude.
It was very provocative. I mean, she was.
There's actually a
on the
word for
toilet
that.
and just you
Yeah.
wouldn't put a basic profile picture like that on there unless you're trying to, look.
Sure.
Especially you're looking for military personnel.
Yeah.
Now all my friends behind me were like, "Oh my god, dude, she's so hot, she's amazing." I'm like, "Dude, I'm telling you, that's a fucking dude." I'm telling you, I know now. Like I have
Personal
experience.
experience tells me that
some
this is a
trans
fucking
people
guy.
fucking pull it off. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like some of them are attractive.
Yeah, whenever I was in Thailand, I was very surprised.
Oh, you went to Thailand?
I have, and I was very surprised of the amount of successful surgeries and the successful transition. I guess you could say it would make the 2018 kids that want to be trans or are trans. It would put them to shame wanting to be a woman. Like you see those those dudes that are like, man, I'm a chick inside, and they're ugly as fuck whenever they transition. These people are not. They're not ugly at all, and it's like,
Well, they've kind of perfected that with like hormone treatments and things. It's
Right.
crazy when you like if you ever see like the before and after and how much like estrogen and things like that really shape like the physicality of your features.
Right.
Yeah.
And like with women they're softer, more rounded, whereas men we have that more
Fuck,
chiseled.
That's like
yeah.
real life filters.
It is. It's chemicals.
It
hormones,
is,
yeah.
man. That's
Right.
like
That's
fucking
Instagram.
real time Instagram shit.
that's genome Instagram filters. That's what that is.
Yeah.
That's insane. So yeah, I mean, yeah, Thailand is fucking nuts. So I recommend going if you ever get the opportunity. But
Well, anyways, I went down and I saw. So I met
Yeah.
that person just to kind of because I knew, and I had a friend of mine, and I brought a friend on purpose because this was my new understanding of how this shit worked. Now I used MySpace before as it's how you connect with people. It was more like music, and you could put little things on your profile, and it just evolved into this very strange thing I was doing. Like we were meeting at a mall at like 9:30 at night. The mall closed at like what 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock or something. So no one's there. It's
Right.
dark. And I'm realizing like this is like a horror fucking movie. Like I don't know why I'm doing this.
I could get robbed.
Yeah, I mean I could be in real serious harm here. And then 30 minutes go by and the person's late, and I knew right there this is not a good thing. And so about 5 minutes later,
Right.
here comes up a purple bug with what looks like two linebackers sitting in the back seat, just silhouettes with wigs on. And then
All
she steps out.
Sure.
And I mean, we're talking like 7-inch heels. And I just remember like he or she, I don't want to be
No.
insensitive, walked over, sat next to me and goes, "Sorry, I'm late."
Man.
Were you
Yeah.
expecting them? Were they expecting you?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know at that point, but I just remember going, I need to get the fuck out of here.
Sure.
And that's when I realized that the danger of this online dating stuff. Lee, Clayton cannot join us tonight because he's taking a class for his new job.
Yeah, he's got big boy responsibilities to do.
We might
So,
just, who knows, he'll
We're
probably
trying-
find a way to comment or do something.
We're trying to bring the spirit of Clayton alive and all of us tonight.
The show must go
So-
on.
The show must go
If you
on.
stick around, we appreciate it.
Anyway, so that's when I realized that it's not this nice, wonderful stuff coming, and then as it started evolving to like Tinder and
Yeah.
Grinder
Yeah.
and Bumble.
Well, actually, I
and-
think Grinder was the first with like how Tinder is formatted. I think Grinder was actually the first app to do it with the swiping and all that.
Oh, the
stuff.
swipe
yeah,
left,
and
swipe
then
right.
Tinder came after Grinder. Yeah, Grinder was first.
Grinder was first.
Yeah.
And that's primarily the homosexual.
Yeah, it's
app, right?
homosexual.
And that's more now. Is that more homosexual for women and men,
It's both.
or both? So,
But I mean, men, whether you're straight or gay, we're all whores, right?
sure, I guess.
Well, no, I didn't mean like. Let me rephrase that. That sounds bad.
We're all looking to get our dicks. Into
No. I
something.
mean, it's that primal thing. So I mean, it's our prime directive as males. You know, we go and you got to find a woman, right? But if you're gay, you got to find another guy. But
Right.
like the behavior of a man never changes whether they're gay or straight.
Sure.
Everybody-
Well, no, that
Like they
makes
still
sense.
have those impulses and like, you know what I mean?
Everybody wants to bust.
Like the dick pic thing. So like if you're a guy and you send a woman a dick pic, that's fucking stupid, right?
Right.
But when you're a guy and you send another guy a dick pic and you're both gay, it's just like, well, how'd you do? You know, right? Like,
right, I like that.
Yeah.
Howdy, partner.
Yeah.
There's a snake in my boot.
yeah. But the issues I want to bring one of them up with just the whole app thing is it's objectifying, and
Sure.
that's probably one of the biggest like concerns people should have with online dating.
But is
again,
it a-
it's all
is
it's
it-
visual. It's purely visual.
Is it objectifying when that person has the right to control their own profile, to put their own pictures up, to put their own information?
Well, you're
Is it
putting yourself
really a-
up for sale.
So it's a
So
that's
where we
objectifying.
objectify ourselves with online dating, in my opinion. This
So
is-
that we're
everything
doing
I
it to
say
our-
is my opinion.
We're doing it
yeah.
to ourselves.
We do it to
We're
ourselves and
objectifying
we do it
ourselves.
to each other. You know, like with pornography, people say, oh, it objectifies women. It absolutely does, but it also objectifies men as well.
Sure.
I mean, we can't say that every man has a fucking 12-inch dong, can
Right.
we? Yeah, no. I mean, it creates these unrealistic expectations of what to look for in a partner, and it's all purely physical.
This is gonna sound fucked up. Now I'm channeling my inner Clay, which I'm sure he'd say something like, "Well, why don't they just put the size of their nipples on their profile?"
I mean, I suppose you could.
Yeah. Well, I mean, isn't that the
stopping
same thing as when guys are like, "Oh, yeah, I got a fucking 9-inch cock or whatever." Like, well, I want to know the size of your nipples because I don't want to deal with some pepperoni sausage.
That's true. I mean, that is a difficult situation whenever you go into
Yeah.
What's the
An
thickness of the
encounter.
labia? What are we talking here?
But see, this is-
are we talking
but-
picture mound?
but
Or are
see,
we talking
Are we
like?
talking a roast beef sandwich
But
from
this-
Arby's, or
so-
are we talking like a street taco
So this is kind of what I'm talking about, though. So like
from one of
before-
those Mexican places? Sorry.
No, you're good. I didn't mean to interrupt you. But
Yeah.
you bring up what you guys are saying brings up a really good point. So, you know, before pornography and all that shit and the accessibility of it all, there was no like point of reference, if you will,
Sure.
as unrealistic as it may be or not.
Oh, yeah.
And so, you know, you meet people through friends, family, friends of friends, and things like that, and you know, you find someone that you vibe with or whatever, and it doesn't really matter if they have pepperoni tits or, you know, roast beef curtains or whatever you want to call it, because there was no what do you call it? I'm freaking the word here. There was no standard that was created. There was
Yeah.
no construct for that. And it didn't matter because if you were into them, you were into them, not just their bodies.
Sure. Yeah, that's definitely not the case anymore, I would say.
Nah, I think
And that's what I mean, though.
They- that
These
fucking
apps
trolley lift.
hypersexualize what
Right.
we look for. We confuse love with sex, and some people confuse sex with love.
But do we feel like that's such a like bad thing? Like, I don't know. For me, it became like a lot of people, you know, a lot of people are sex driven, right? Like that's
Well, to answer your
when you're-
question, when children come out of that, and all of a sudden the child goes, "Mommy, where did I come from?" And she goes,
Sure.
"Well, mommy swiped right.
Mommy was you are
That's
a
what I mean.
tender mistake.
There's
Yeah.
no more. There's no
Mommy
romance in
swiped
that.
right
Yeah, you're
and
right.
went to the
Sweat.
Applebee's."
Yeah, I mean that goes into the whole single mom spectrum now, that in single parents and everything like that. I mean, it's been
Hey, shout out to the single parents out there. I myself am one.
yeah, 100%. It's
Not easy.
Yeah, no, it's yeah. I mean, that's something that I would never want to take on as a task, and more power to you on that. But it is it's very prevalent in nowadays. Like you wouldn't see that, or maybe you could before. And the social media and everything right now has us all connected in such a way to where we can see. You know, you have everybody that posts everything about their lives. You see the most like depressing shit on Facebook from somebody else's post and everything, and whether it's a cry for attention or not, you still you
Makes you
have
feel
that,
like shit.
You have that social connection.
It has an effect on you,
Yeah, you have that social connection with somebody that you would not otherwise have without this media.
Back, that goes back to us comparing ourselves. We compare ourselves based on looking at other people's profiles, looking at other people's
And went to the
so-called
Apple
It's like
lives.
going to
That's
going
right,
to a
James.
market.
Right.
Right.
You're looking for the, you know, that right kind of slice of meat for the right price.
Sure.
Some people are thrifty, others not so much, you know,
Sure.
whatever. But
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
Like going to the deli.
It's a meat market.
The deli store. What's up, Troy?
Troy.
How you do, Troy?
Troy Baker.
You
So
trying that
should we
out
take a
for
minute and
size?
see what
Okay.
what people have to say? Like, is anyone like how do you guys feel
Yeah, we
about
wanna-
the whole app thing?
We want to hear about your online dating experiences.
I mean, do you feel like you're objectified, or when you put yourself out there, you're selling yourself rather than genuinely creating a connection with somebody?
Or do you really enjoy it and it's really working out for you?
I think that we should talk about our own like profiles or whatever whenever we put that out there, right? Like for me personally, I remember whenever I did it, and I remember the very first time that I did it,
right?
And I've never been a self-conscious person or anything, and I thought that the pictures I put out were pretty okay. And then I remember hitting somebody up, and they told me that that I'm not their type.
Sure.
And I was like, I felt I'm everybody's type. I'm a Marine or whatever,
Yeah.
so I have that confidence about me that I'm everybody's type. So it didn't make sense to me. But she was like, no, dude, you're not my type. So just go away.
But was that based on just your appearance, or did you guys even have a chance to talk?
No, I think that she thought I was fucking ugly. Like,
Oh,
I think that was 100% it.
That was just her nice way of saying you're hideous.
Yeah, no, I think.
But maybe you got up the wrong angle. Maybe
Yeah.
you just didn't take the right picture.
Right, I don't think I hit the right borders for myself. So
You weren't framed correctly.
right, exactly. So yeah, no, that was like a hit to my ego. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
fuck, dude, like, am I ugly? I looked in the mirror. I'm like,
Yeah, but
am
see,
I
that's
ugly?
that's the disingenuine part about online dating.
Well, this
because-
is, I didn't mean to interrupt
Oh,
you,
no,
but
no,
my
go ahead.
biggest problem is when people, my fiance does this all the time. She puts on all this makeup, and I get it. It's something she really enjoys. I think it's a girl kind of thing to
Sure.
do. But you don't have to do that. You know, you're already beautiful. And,
Well, she's doing it for herself.
and that's what I've realized is
Yeah.
that, you know, I know you're not doing it just for me. You're doing it for yourself as well. So it's totally fine, whatever. But most women that I've seen, they kind of have that stigma where they have to do that. They have to put
Yeah.
on this makeup to make themselves look prettier
Sure.
or feel whatever. I disagree. I think we're more inclined to see the true beauty on us when we show our blemishes, when we show our
Yeah,
scars. When, you know,
absolutely.
that goes back to that vulnerability concept.
But it goes, I mean, it's further than looks. Again, there's
Well,
that
sure.
nuance and conversation, interaction, which you don't get from swiping to the left or
Well,
swiping
right.
to the right.
Well, because they're fuck objects. They're fuck symbols.
Well, I mean, how guilty are you of like how many people have you swiped left on based on appearance?
Oh, I've never
right?
done
Wait,
a swipe.
is it left to the good side or right to the good side?
Shit, I
I think
forget.
it's right that's the bad one, and then left is
Yeah, I
I'm
think
about
so.
it. I want to fuck you.
No, I think you're wrong.
So, I
think,
mean-
think
Well, we'll
left-
just say
left-
for the
left
sake
is-
of argument, I mean, it doesn't matter.
Right, I mean,
there's
well-
the good side and the bad side.
Let us know, Tinder folk, who is it left or right is the good one. But
Yeah.
I was saying, like, how many people have you swiped left or
I've-
right on,
I've-
like based on appearance? Like for me, it was very important. Like
Now, I've never done the swiping, but there's a website way back in the day called Hot or Not.
Mm.
Are you familiar with this?
Is that kind of like a pornographic Facebook?
No,
or
no,
something?
not at all. So what it is, it's
What is that?
So it was a website where you uploaded a bunch of pictures of yourself, and you had everybody else rate
Judge you.
you
Okay.
from on a scale of 1 to 10. And I don't remember what I got. I think it was like a 5.4.
Okay.
And when I realized, like, decimals hurt. Like, decimals really hurt.
Like what
Right.
keeps
Like,
me
I
from that
couldn't,
point?
yeah.
point
Why couldn't I get a
6?
0.6? Why a 0.4, man? What the
Well,
fuck?
take this number with a grain of salt. So there's been a lot of studies on that kind of thing. And so an example would be that humor, despite what you look like,
Yeah, that's where I-
actually raises your attractiveness
Yeah.
about 75%.
That's where I
So
found
again, take that
comedy.
number for what it is, whatever. I mean, it could be any number. The point is, it doesn't hurt your chances. And that's something, again, that you don't get from just looking at pictures objectifying
Oh, but
one
it could
another.
still hurt. I had a friend of mine
Sure.
who was like, "Hey, man, have you heard of Hot or Not? What we should do is we'll compare our numbers." I'm like, "No, dude, that's..." Because like, yeah, we'll just
Yeah.
put it out there and we'll put 2 different pictures of each
Right.
other and you and me, and then we'll see. And he got
Yeah.
like a 9.4, and I was like a 4.6. I'm like, you're a dick. You already knew that in the first place. You just had to show me, like, yeah, I know I'm more attractive than most people. And hurtful, very hurtful.
Yeah, I mean, but
Jeez.
a lot of them have the personalities of a fucking gum on the back of somebody's shoe. Like it's like you get this person and you like. Have you ever been with somebody that's really hot and you're like,
No.
man,
Never.
no, it's never happened.
Besides my fiance.
Give yourself some credit.
Besides my fiance, no,
Come on.
I was always with trolls.
So
I'm
I mean,
telling
you're
you.
not the fucking elephant man. Come on.
Well, I know that, but I'm also
Yeah.
I've got a great heart, and I look past all that
Sure.
stuff. And so there was this one comment from I think his American Dad was like, no one ever really goes for the smart, unattractive ones, because if that was the case, I would have married my best friend in high school or something. Like that's the whole bit. And I kind of matured a little bit
Yeah.
before that. I used to be real materialistic,
Right.
and very shallow. But once I kind of realized that I wasn't shit, I kind of had to play on my own level playing
Yeah.
ground, and it was not.
But I mean,
with
that's
the
kind of
hates.
like a societal stereotype. So, yeah, I mean, when you said that, no one goes for the smart, unattractive people, that's not necessarily true. I mean, they may not have that chance of, they don't get that chance is like the big thing.
Sure.
So initial attraction can be many things. It can be, a lot of people, it's just strictly appearance, even in general. Money, whatever.
Money.
But I mean, it's very subjective, right? So, I mean, there is a lot depending. I mean, I've seen people with knockout partners, and you look at them and you're like, you must be one funny motherfucker, or maybe
yeah.
you have a lot of money, but
Yeah.
it's preference, right?
Right.
And
Yeah, very rarely is it they've
But
got a great personality.
what you don't get on online dating is the whole of that person.
Sure.
Not until, I guess, if you get far enough and then you meet them. And
But honestly, that's where it goes back to
Yeah.
why people fuck up dating in the first place. I think that's why they like this
Expectations.
online dating, because it's kind of a mixture bowl. You're not really expecting it to kind of work out. You'll get your little jollies off or whatever. But the real fact is, in relationships, it's called the honeymoon period. It takes about 3 months. That's where all the bullshit's
oh, really?
still
See,
up in the
I've
air.
read a year and a half. Someone told me
It
6
depends.
months. Yeah.
If it's a bad relationship, usually about 2 to 3 months.
Right.
I feel like the the online dating exponentially increases that odds of the honeymoon phase, right? So you're getting a double dose of the honeymoon phase. You're getting the best parts of them in their profile, and then you're getting the best
But you don't
parts
know
of
if
them.
that, but that's not the real them.
Right, in the first initial
I'd
interaction
love to
with
see
them.
someone be like, I'm $40,000 in debt, not just to it's to the IRS,
Right.
not even to like credit card companies. I mean, I
Right.
owe the IRS lots of money.
Right, like put your baggage. They should have like a little side thing. It was baggage. Here's my greatness about me, and here's my baggage.
We need to coin that, or somebody do make a website and call it like baggage space or something,
Right,
Or
and-
whatever, like just everybody.
that might be a thing.
Just
Let me
puts
check that.
their just most honest, terrible things about
Yeah.
them, and then see if you love
Yeah,
that
and
person.
are you still willing to
Right,
to have that first date with somebody? Because that first date is the most fucking awkward thing ever, right?
Sure.
It can be.
So.
But, I mean, not for everyone.
James Louvier says profiles are like resumes. Everyone's
absolutely.
lying.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's is it lying though, or is it just putting your best foot forward as far as who you are? Like,
Well,
yeah,
whoever's the best salesman.
like in a resume, you're not lying necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of truths in it, but maybe embellishing. There's a lot of embellishing
Sure.
Sure.
in online profiles or resumes, essentially. But yeah, I mean, it's a great point. There is a lot of lying or embellishing.
And yeah, I mean, I get it. I understand why there's embellishing and why there's lying. But the one thing I can't understand, and I see a lot of this all the time, people have their little fucking hookups, especially with Tinder, Grindr,
Right.
all these apps
that's-
designed.
That's more prevalent with younger people.
Plenty of Fish. That's another one. You can go look in the market, and there are all these types of apps. And what they do is they just connect
Right.
you
I actually-
instantaneously. Sure, go ahead.
I met my ex-fiance on Plenty of Fish.
Really?
I did. It was Plenty of Fish. And, I'm going through it and I'm looking at these people. And, I mean, I don't know them and I don't mean anything negative about them. But you can tell that they all are definitely all down on their luck.
Sure. Oh,
And-
yeah. Big time.
I was on there constantly and, like, it never got hit, And then, she
That's gotta-
responded. Yeah. She said she almost didn't. And when I met her, everything, it was great. And we had that honeymoon thing and everything was all peachy. And I made the mistake of like, oh, come move in with me because she was getting kicked out. She had 2 kids and, it's that savior complex thing. But like, I didn't want to focus on all those bad things because it's like, well, no one's perfect. People have their baggage, if you will, or whatever. And I kind of ignored all those red flags. But like, I didn't really get to know her until the very end, if that makes sense.
Right.
So when
Took a while.
Right. So that the whole app thing was just kind of the fantasy of it. It's like,
Well,
we're into each other.
You
and-
hit the nail on the head
Yeah.
as far as like the fantasy part. You're talking to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like you said, knowing they're down on their luck,
Yeah.
and you're about to go be with that, or you're going to do something intimate with that. That shows desperation. I mean, that just shows how far people are going and are willing to have social connections, even if it means to kind of scrape the bottom of the barrel a little bit. It's called Plenty of Fish because there's putrid pussies all around.
Putrid pussies.
Well, I think
We're
it's-
gonna put that on a t-shirt.
It's the technology though that's getting in the way, and again, it affects people's perception. It's conditioning, and this has been going on for, I mean, at least a decade. I don't know when the first online dating thing really happened, but I want to say give or take 10 years, maybe at least.
Flip the coin as far as you've got web pages or websites like Match.com.
Yeah.
Or what's the other one?
eHarmony.
eHarmony.
Well, they're the ones.
I'll tell
that,
you this: eHarmony, they guaranteed at least one date. I was on there for a year, not one, not one. I didn't even get my money back.
Well, they're the ones that.
But I was honest. See, I'm always honest when I was on there. I never had
Yeah.
I never lied because I knew that it was a flawed system, and it was more of like, I'm just going to humor it because I mean, I didn't go out a whole lot. I didn't have the opportunity. So the pros of that is that there are people out there it does work for, especially people with careers, and they just don't have time to forge those bonds or go out, and maybe their social skills atrophy because all they do is work.
Now, I have heard that excuse before. I'm not calling it an excuse. I've heard that before,
Yeah.
as far as, you've got people that work really hard and they just don't have time. And I would assume, yeah, Match.com, eHarmony.com, where they're using algorithms to try to actually match people.
Yeah.
And I don't believe they're matching them based upon compatibility like people would think. It's actually opposite. Like, for example, like there's these studies that they do with people and their personalities. Two type A personalities wouldn't work good if they're on an island together.
Nah, it
Because
wouldn't
there's
work
no
well at
there's
all.
no cohesion.
Right.
So that's kind of what they use these algorithms to do, is kind of push these people together that you wouldn't think would work out in the first place. We had a friend of ours, I'm not going to say her real name, but every time our friends would see her,
Can we call her Karen?
let's call her Karen, yeah.
Right.
And everyone would call her Crying Karen. And Crying Karen would cry for everything and anything. No reason, it just always crying.
Okay.
So all of a sudden, when we talked to her one night, we're like,
Exactly
so
who you're talking
you
about.
do, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
I
And
do.
she'd be just like, I want a man, and I want this, and I want that. We're like,
I want a family.
yeah,
I want children.
well,
I want a
fuck,
husband.
You've already put it on your profile. I don't know what you're doing wrong. Jesus.
It's like those people that are so desperate for love on the next person, like they, even no matter what type of red flags you see with them, it's like I'm gonna make it work regardless because this person could be my husband or this person
Sure.
could be my wife. It's difficult. I think that everybody should at least once experience an online date. And maybe eventually a relationship or whatever, because you'll definitely, for me personally, I found out exactly what it is I will and will not tolerate in a relationship, besides investing myself
Right.
entirely in somebody that is a lost cause.
Sure.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there that are those people that you can't, no matter how much you want to save
Well,
them,
I think
you
some of
can't
that
do
though is also lack of experience. So like if you're not dating regularly, you're going to be at a disadvantage.
Well,
Right.
the dating
Not
game's
only do you
changed.
not really know, I mean, you can say to yourself, I know what I want, but you really don't know until you are rejected. And rejection is a very hard thing to deal with. No one, I mean, that's the ego, right? No one wants to be told that there's something wrong with them, but that's just how society has forced us to look at ourselves. It's in order to further yourself as an individual, you have to suffer trauma. You have to have heartbreak. You have to I learned a lot from my ex-fiance when she left me because it really it put everything into perspective, and it compelled me to be a better person because I actually had a frame of reference.
Yeah.
And you only get that when you're able to look at yourself in that light that you refuse to do.
This is one thing I've been thinking about, which is kind of interesting because as of about 3 years or 3 to 5 years ago, you start getting into this trend of long distance relationships. And everybody would say long distance relationships don't work. But when we start getting into this technological push, what if that's going to actually start helping these long distance relationships actually make it?
I think for some, but there is that loneliness factor. Nothing can beat being there with that person, and
Sure.
that's the thing that apps can't replicate.
Yeah, but then you get into that whole, are you watching Pornhub, or are you doing this, and you're half a distance across the globe. Like, I mean,
Do you
at
ever-
what point does the jealousy overcompensate for what the relationship's trying to be?
Do you ever get that porn ad whenever you're watching porn and they're like, why are you jacking off by yourself? What's going on? Why doesn't a good looking person like you have a mate? Why are you doing this by
First
yourself?
of all, it's kind of weird for you to assume that I'd be jerking off with other people around in the first place.
Well, hey, I've met a lot of good-looking people who are really awkward, and I'm like, well, why aren't you with anybody? And they're like, oh, I don't know. And, they just
They might
they
be
don't-
serial killers.
some, yeah. I mean, we can laugh at that. I mean, that's true. Some of them probably are, but again, it goes back to that lack of experience and that inability to really look at yourself and say, okay, I am this kind of person.
Well,
and-
you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
The whole I am this. This is who I am. No holds bar. I'm not
Yeah.
lying. I'm not faking anything. This is who you see is what you get. And you don't get that. It's always this fluffery. And I've noticed it every time. Go look at any
Yeah.
profile right now. It is not even about what they look like. It's what they post their pictures of.
It's a
Like,
fluff fest.
oh yeah, I'm just had the most amazing burger, and I had to just show everybody that I'm doing this.
Those selfies. I just woke up in the morning and it's like you're holding a fucking was it the selfie stick? Like this was not natural.
Right,
This
right.
Was all
That's how you wake
fake.
up. You wake up with a goddamn selfie stick. That's fucking weird. That's weird behavior.
How do you
It
be
is.
like a social media fucking tycoon, right? Like you take a picture of one burger and you filter as much as you can, and you have to upload it to Instagram, you have to upload it to Facebook, you have to upload it to your Match.com profile.
Sure.
Like you have to keep up with all of this thing to this interaction that you have with people. That's a false sense of who you are as a person. And it just makes you feel better that you're able to, I don't know, have that experience for yourself. I don't know. I've never gotten it. Like my Instagram alone has like 3 pictures on it, I think, and I'm terrible about uploading things like that.
Carrie Nord says, trust your gut when you're online dating because it doesn't lie. If they creep you out, run.
No, that's a very
Okay, so online, what would be like creepy red flags? How do you interpret that? Say when you're talking to somebody over a text
That's
message.
a good question.
That is a very
That's
good
a great
question.
question. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's very difficult because it's ambiguous in
And
the
I
first
think,
place.
yeah, I think it's personal to everybody else,
Right.
right? Like for me,
What might creep one person out
Sure.
might turn on the other.
But someone you think is attractive physically, once you actually get to talk to them, they turn out to be the fucking creepy ones. Right?
Sure.
Right.
So it goes back to that, you can swipe left and right and it's all visual, but you don't know the nuances of that person. You can't actually feel who they are. You're not connecting with them.
But I say also experience also has a lot
Yes.
to do with that, right? Because if you've experienced that
You know what to look for.
online dating and before and everything like that, so the attributes that you saw, if you really go back to another session of online after going through a terrible relationship or whatever, then you have that experience of the next part that you want to see and the red flags that you ignored before. You're able to, I guess, come back and then get the next set of rules that you're going to dictate
Well,
for
I
yourself.
think we need to change the paradigm. We need to change the paradigm. Just like Kari said, if they send you a dick pic within the
Oh,
first
yeah,
day
that's
of messaging,
Definitely.
well, if they do that, you
the
know
ladies,
what?
You know what I tell you? If some guy sends you a dick pic, you send them one right back.
All right. You just-
You show them who has the bigger cock.
Yeah.
Oh man,
you send them a bigger one of somebody that you've been with and be like,
no.
can you
send them stretch
measure up to
marks?
that one?
Send them stretch marks. They'll go
Oh.
running.
Oh. Ew.
Was that too rough?
That was
That
real.
was. There's no
that
way.
was way real.
There's
Well, I
nothing
thought
wrong
that's
with
what we
stretch
were
marks.
doing,
There's
my
nothing
bad.
wrong with that.
No. I mean,
But see, that goes
what
back
it
though.
is.
So our society, they show us this. It's unrealistic because you're going to get to that point where you're older, and looks they fade. And so when it comes down to it, it's like it's your metal. Who are you? What can you do? Are you going to be there for the family you create?
That's the biggest point is that hot chick or that hot dude or whatever, they're not going to look like that forever.
Right.
And so when you're with someone like that, and eventually you've kind of seen those stories before. Everyone knows those stories of, oh, the hot couple didn't work out. I will fucking wonder why. You always kind of see people that there's something more in their personalities, and that's how they connect in the first
could be
place.
vanity.
Because you're going to live with that person forever. I don't give a shit how hot you are. If I can't stand being around you, I'm out.
Yeah,
I
it's
just
not
can't
how
do
you
that.
look. It's how
Right.
you are.
my girlfriend said, or they get extremely angry whenever you ignore their messages. I immediately went to my phone. It's like, is she fucking messaging me right now? Like, what the fuck's going on? But I think she's talking about personal experience. Like, there are people that don't let other people live their lives. Like, you have those controlling people that get to a
text you
point
all
where
the time.
Yeah, like you can't like if you like say we have our shows and stuff like that. Say
Yeah.
that somebody's blowing up your phone during times whenever you're supposed to be working or
Like you're
supposed to
driving.
yeah, you're doing something. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
driving. You're not fucking texting me back. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, my-
Fucking somebody else? You fucking somebody
My
else? And
my
it's
ex
like,
fiance would text me constantly, and if I didn't get back to her right away, she'd be like, "Well, what's wrong?"
Oh,
and she
man.
would dwell and obsess, and I'm like, "I'm driving.
Yeah.
I'm at work. You're giving me a panic attack. Like, just cool it. You know, like."
Yeah.
I want you to have your free time. I want you to go live your life and have
Right.
your own friends and things like that. Like, I'm coming home to you. But
I mean,
some people, that's the thing again with like social media and those apps. It spurs obsession.
Sure.
It's very unhealthy.
I'm that
Yeah.
same way, but that's because my fiance has a life-threatening disease. So I kind of have to be. It's if I haven't heard from her in an hour.
Well, right, but
and I don't want to be
but,
that
but
guy.
you know each other. You've
Right.
You've had that intimate relationship.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just purely a physicality.
Right. And when I'm in the vehicle,
Mm-hmm.
every time I got a little preset, especially our phones are getting more sophisticated. You can sit there and go, "Hi, Bigsby. Text fuckface. I'm driving."
Right. We got a code brown. What's that, babe? I shit my pants. I need a new pair of trousers. Come ASAP.
yeah, I mean, that is the thing. That is the biggest turnoff for somebody is whenever they ask you where you are, who you're with, when you will be home, when it's like it's a rapid fire question. You're absolutely right, and especially if you haven't established a relationship to where you haven't even had the talk of boundaries with somebody, and then they automatically assume that they're laying claim to you, that you're their person and they're required to report into you. Like I'll put like a military thing. Like in the military, you nowhere that you went was it not recorded where you were going, whether you want on Liberty or anything like that. Everything had to be documented as far as where you're going. And then if you're with somebody like that, that's a fucking toxic type of environment. You
Sure.
really should not do that.
No.
Because people innately want freedom, for one. So if you don't have that sense of freedom, then you end up in situations where there are abusive partners, and you develop codependency
Yeah.
or dependency in itself. And it's
Well,
a
that
toxic
saying was it
situation.
distance makes the heart grow fonder.
Right.
So there is a healthy level of distance, and that's again because of our technology, we've narrowed that gap.
Yeah.
And so I think that really it feeds that obsession, that compulsion.
Well,
You're-
you've
end up-
got components now where you can share your location. You know, like if you're talking via Messenger or whatever, where are you? Here, just fucking here. Here, I'm right here. Here's my location. Now you know everything about me, where I'm at, what's going on. I'm fine. I'm driving.
yeah, there's no more mystery.
Right.
And another thing, you shouldn't always constantly be thinking and worrying about where your partner is. That's where trust comes in. And if you can't
Sure.
trust them to go and do their thing, and you're just worrying about them all the time, you're going to self-sabotage.
Isn't it weird? We're getting to the point now where most people, they're going to be at Thanksgiving dinner, and the parents are going to ask, "So how did you two meet?" And you're going to give grandma and grandpa a heart attack when you say, "Oh, we met online." As before, it was you
100%.
would meet at a church, or you'd meet at school, or some type of outdoor
Because
activity.
they were
or-
so set in their ways. They met their sweethearts in high school or at a fucking drive-in movie theater or wherever it is. They met them, and so that whole the technological aspect of things and the connection that people have, it's so unique. And I mean, I'm not saying that it doesn't work for some people. I've seen some people that are currently really happy. I mean, we don't have the situation where there is a 60-year span where we can understand, okay, this people got together online 60 years ago and they're still together today. We don't have that. What we have right now is maybe 25 years, 35 years tops as far as the cap of an online dating type of thing to where you've got with them in an online spectrum.
What about, like...
We don't have that that timeline that it takes in order for you to understand what can be a success and what can't.
Do you think they
I
already
agree.
have a website
Yeah.
or an app for, like, widows? Like,
Yeah,
where
they
widows
do.
can meet?
Absolutely.
And I can see that as a functioning type of way in our society, as far as that's where it seems to be important, where you can connect to somebody that's had a shared experience. And so you're going to have more of a deeper connection, just as
Yeah,
opposed
absolutely.
to, oh, you're really hot or whatever. We've been through this together concept. Or like people like PTSD.
Yeah, and they
or-
know like this guy or this girl here can handle that. They can handle children. They
Right.
can, they know how to parent or
Right.
whatever it is that you're looking for.
Right. I could see that as a practical application.
My mind goes to a completely crazy place because I think that, okay, you have this one is a widower and the other one is a widower. And then what if the widowers are up in wherever, looking down or looking up, wherever they're at, and they're both like next to each other watching these other, like your spouse that you were with, like
Yeah.
fucking somebody else.
Well, isn't
like,
that the whole, like, till death do you part? Death is it. Once death happens, that's it.
Yeah.
Louis does a lot of bits about that.
No, I agree. Like that's wholeheartedly. Like we didn't. In the oath, it doesn't say in this life and the next, and then the next, and then the next one after that. It's like
Do you and your dearly whatever swipe right or to the left?
Fuck.
That's the future, and it's terrible.
God damn, that I did.
that's really real to think
That
about.
is, dude. Like, or like getting married.
There'll
Like,
be an
we're
app.
probably like not even 5 years.
There's
Probably
an
like
app for
2
that.
years away from some asshole that's going to create an app that says it'll register within the state of Nevada or whatever.
You
Just
get your-
swipe
you
here.
get your
and you two
notary.
are fucking married now. Oh my god, I could totally see that happening.
Oh, that would be such like. Imagine the divorce rate after that. Like right now, it's over 51%. I think so.
All right, so we're approaching the last 5 minutes of the show.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
Austin
Yeah, give me a
would
sec.
like to
Sure.
share something with the rest of us.
Yeah, give me a second. You two talk amongst yourselves. Da, 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 da.
So Stu, how's the PUBG going?
The PUBG is interesting. It's
Uh-huh.
it's at a situation right now to where
Uh-huh.
I'm being completely carried in
Uh-huh.
my spectrum in life. So,
Hey, sometimes we all need to be carried for a little bit.
That's right. Sometimes we do need to be carried. What? What'd I do? Oh. Sorry. What?
there you go.
Here we go. That's better.
Who do we
Yeah,
have
what's this?
joining our show
This
right
is
now?
how easy it is to show somebody who you're not. My name's Pixie.
Hi, Pixie.
Hi.
How you doing?
Hi, Pixie.
I'm pretty good. I have pineapple titties, and I got a pitcher's mound for a pussy.
I'm so.
I'm sorry. A what?
It's a pineapple titties and a pitcher's mound for a pussy.
Pitcher's mound for a pussy.
Oh, not pretty.
Is this how you were catfished?
Who said anything about catfish?
I mean, you don't really look that real right now, Pixie.
Oh, no, I'm totally real. I'm totally real.
No, you're pretty celluloid.
No, don't you see? I'm blonde haired and blue eyed. Am I blue eyed? Yeah, blonde hair, blue eyed. Don't I look pretty? I'm an open book, boys.
Do you do anal,
I-
Pixie?
No, but I swipe right and I only swipe right. I'm a right swiper.
Okay.
Who
All right.
wants to be with me, boys?
I like the head tilting thing. That's just.
Anybody?
Is that moving with your head? It moves with the camera,
No, this is me naturally. What are you talking about? This is
But-
all natural.
but you're a cartoon.
No, this is me. You
But
should
wh-
come visit me and see me, the real me.
Do you live in a van?
I don't.
Are you
Sometimes.
sure? Do you live in a shack?
Maybe.
Do you have an Instagram, Pixie, that we
Of
can
course,
let
of course.
so that we can plug it
But
for
that's
our
only
viewers?
for if you subscribe, and I need money. Send me $200, and I'll send
Okay,
you some
so-
nudes.
Well, let me tell you about the money thing. So on Facebook, I get messaged by people who claim that they're women or whatever, and the first
Uh-huh.
thing they tell me is, "Oh, I'm really bored." I'm like, "Oh, well, I'm sorry."
That's because you have
It's
been
like
with
I really
the
want to
right
watch.
woman.
I really want to watch some movies on iTunes. Can you give me a $25 gift certificate for iTunes?
No,
But why would I do that? Why would I give you money?
you just gotta trust me.
But I don't know who you are.
I showed you nudes.
I never asked for nudes.
I'm an open book. I like racquetball. I like taking men's money. I love Fireball. Come see me. I live in Arkansas.
Do you,
Come drive all the way. Here are my directions.
I don't know if I can trust you. Pixie, is it?
No, it's okay.
I would really love to get to know Pixie, and if I
don't know
wasn't
who
taken,
she is, who she say she is.
if I wasn't taken, I would actually give Pixie a run for her money.
Don't be fooled, ladies and gentlemen. Be you, be real, be honest. Don't fall for bullshit. And hopefully y'all learned something tonight. That's all I got,
Yeah,
boys.
you gotta be honest.
I should have worked on that Pixie voice.
Everybody try online dating at least once, and you'll realize what you want out of life.
Yeah, you gotta be
And-
honest to yourself first, like
Right.
what you really want.
Alrighty.
All right, guys, thanks
Till
for
next week.
watching.
Thanks for stopping.